Welcome, people.
Welcome, people.
Yes, welcome. Guys, this show just keeps on getting more and more exciting.
Exciting.
Yes, and Ravi, I got super excited. Yes, when you said, let's do a top 3 of SS Rajamouli. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, about his top best films that we reckon.
Top best ones.
Yes. So, welcome, people.
Welcome
to another episode of BollyFools.
BollyFools.
Yeah. Now, Ravi.
Yes.
We're doing a top 3 today.
Top 3.
Top 3.
Of.
Yes.
SS Rajamouli films.
That's not 3. That's like
17.
Yes. There's quite a lot of numbers.
He's got a lot of names in his letters.
Okay. But we wanted to do this, guys. Obviously, with Baahubali 2 around the corner, we thought, what could we do to get people excited about...
Sword fight?
No, we could do a sword fight.
That would be exciting.
But what happens if one of us dies?
One of them will be happy.
Do you reckon?
I reckon if... Yeah, I reckon.
If me or Ravi died, would you guys... I know they wouldn't be happy. But guys, we just thought it'd be pretty exciting if we start dissecting and looking at our favourite...
Top 3. Now, the thing about top 3s is you have to start kind of worst to best. Now, it's tough because with Rajamouli there is no real worst. It's always just not as good as. So, in at number 3, we have one that we didn't expect to actually consider. Because it goes back some way and isn't one of the mega mainstay films. So, in at number 3, what do we have?
It is the 2006 Vikramarkudu.
Vikramarkudu.
I hope I pronounced that correctly.
The great thing about that film is if you ask Siri, it doesn't know what it is, but if you ask Google, it knows what it is.
It does.
So, we have Vikramarkudu 2006 SS Rajamouli. So, since this was a big favourite of yours, why don't you tell me a bit about it and why you loved it?
చూసావుగా పోలీసోడే కాదు ఒంటి మీద యూనిఫామ్ కూడా డ్యూటీ చేస్తది.
Now Vikramarkudu, when we talk about balance with action and comedy, I think it bring both of those elements in a very clever, stylized way. It got me laughing at times. I was behind the action. I think to myself that after watching the movie, it still stands the test of time. 2006, I reckon we could jump 20 years from now into the future, and guys, I reckon I will still enjoy this movie. And let's not forget, it's because of the success of this film, it's been translated, it's been remade in so many other languages.
Rathod! Vikram Rathod!
Making me think now about VR Vikramarkudu.
Yeah.
Like 20 years from now, in virtual reality, if you could be in the fight scenes from Vikramarkudu. Because that's the thing that really got me was the fight scenes, and not just because of the choreography of the fights, but actually because of the sound. There's 10 years ago, there wasn't very much adventure when it went into the fight scenes and using sound, and in this, there's these really loud horns and skewed, like, just disruptive sounds that actually make you feel uncomfortable as the fights are happening. And that, for me, was the bit that stood out. I mean, there's great dialogue, there's like these punchy one-liners and stuff, and that's good. But the thing that really got me was the use of sound and how uncomfortable it makes you feel during pretty much all of the fights. It's not your typical kind of like upbeat drums and guitars and stuff. It's just really eerie and big foghorns and weird stuff like that, and lots of horns, trumpets and bits of his, and it's just really, really cleverly done to make you feel uncomfortable. It does a great job.
చావు అంటే భయపడటానికి అల్లాటప్పాగా గల్లీల్లో తిరిగే గూండా నా కొడుకును అనుకున్నారా? రాథోడ్, విక్రమ్ రాథోడ్.
So, there are a number of scenes with like punchy dialogue and cool action, but you picked out one that really stood out.
Yeah, it's the chase scene with when Ravi Teja finds out, is introduced to his double for the first time, where there's the action scene where he's running with the girl. It's incredibly well done, guys. But another thing that I think we can't sort of dismiss when it comes down to Vikramarkudu is the dialogue, the use of language in the film, the sketchy punchiness of whether it's something to do with action or very intense scene or it's a comedy sketch scene. It's done incredibly well, and that's why it comes in at our number 3 slot. Now guys, this wasn't easy for us. Look, there's so many amazing films with SS Rajamouli, and there is 3, but there's so many behind that as well. It is so difficult to us to pinpoint 3 films that we loved of his direction.
But we did it.
Yeah, we did do it. So some of you guys might be shocked on our number 2 pick.
I was.
Yeah, you were.
I was desperately shocked.
Really?
No, so it's a pretty big one, because you talk about scale, you talk about special effects, you talk about blowing the doors off, and you end up talking about Baahubali.
Baahubali has a very warm spot in our hearts. It's the film that we were introduced to from the very beginning when we first started BollyFools, and it's the film that every now and then we go back to. We always want to experience that film in different ways, and obviously the most recent way being is super high def.
So, funnily enough, when you remaster a film again and again and again, and you take it up to, in this case, 4K, usually you start to spot flaws in the picture, you start to spot flaws in the special effects, in the final master, and so on and so on, and you really don't in Baahubali. And it speaks to the production values from day one, the care and attention to detail in day one. It stood the test of special effects time, which is a lot shorter than film time. But I think ultimately what it comes down to is, as a film, it worked exceptionally well. It had really, really compelling characters that were enjoyable to watch, that grew on you as the film progressed, that are a ton of fun. And, you know, I remember when we came out of the cinema, and I think the best way to understand what we think of the film is to watch our review. So if you click here, you'll go back to the review that we did. It was the very first review of a South Indian film that we'd ever done. And about 20 minutes long, so it's a long review, but this was about 1 hour after we came out of the cinema. Gives you an idea of just the effect that Baahubali had, because I think now, if you're ever going to do a big spectacle, kind of fantasy epic, you're going to have to measure up to Baahubali. It's kind of the Lord of the Rings of Indian cinema. You can't now go any lower, otherwise you're just not going to get the attention. Baahubali was a special film. We are crazily looking forward to Baahubali 2, and this deserves our spot right at the top of the heap, save for number 1. Baahubali rests at number 2.
1. We have ringing.
Guys, when you really start looking deep into the work, as we've done in the last couple of weeks to bring a top 3 of SS Rajamouli's work, you start picking up gems, you start seeing films of his in a slightly different way. Films that you may have thought that belong in the number 1 spot become number 2, and films that you think that may or belong in the number 4 spot become number 1. Now, we did a trailer reaction to this particular film.
Yes, we did.
And although a lot of people criticised that trailer reaction,
yes, they did.
We weren't laughing in a way that most people thought that we were taking a mick, but we were laughing because it was so fulfilling, so exciting. We express emotions. We all do express emotions in different ways, and for us it was a joyous moment that led us straight to watch the film and then to do an in-depth review about it. So Ravi, That film is...
Number 1, Eega. So, it's true. When we watched the trailer, it was so crazy, so creative, so out of the box that we laughed. We weren't laughing at the film, and I think this is a common misconception. It happened with another film recently where we were laughing, but we were laughing because we were excited. And Eega was one of those films where you watch the trailer and you're like, how is all of this happening? How does this fit together? And it got us so intrigued that we did. We watched the film. We sat there for 2 and a bit hours and we watched the film end to end, and we were gripped from the very beginning because, believe it or not, everything makes sense in this film. From the bad guy, who was just brilliant and obviously continued his work being a bad guy. He was excellent in this, and he was someone you couldn't root for from the beginning. He was dark, he was menacing, and then when you introduced the comedy worked because it was light relief from a very dark and tense space that the film was occupying. But it just escalated the creativity, moment after moment, scene after scene, effect after effect.
When we tell people about a fly, a man that gets reincarnated as a fly to avenge his death, it sounds so crazy. I mean, even as I'm explaining it to you guys, I'm getting goosebumps. But the way that's executed is so well done, from the CGI to the story to the character development and to the very end, which that film, I was questioning how it's going to come to an end. It did it in such an amazing way. Guys, for myself and Ravi, we just had to put it down at number 1.
Yeah, Sudeep is for me the star of the show, apart from the special effects. Samantha was a great foil for the film, and ultimately, you're right. The fact that the film can go full circle and have an ending that makes perfect sense, is completely satisfactory, is testament to the great filmmaking. Now, everyone's going to debate about Baahubali. Baahubali, there's obviously number 2 to come. Who knows what's going to happen if you put both together, and maybe that'll be the number 1. But for right now, I think this is his most complete film, and that says a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to touch upon that. And one of the reasons for why Baahubali is at number 2 is because we see Baahubali as one complete movie. So when we put them both together, I think it would be just fitting to do another SS Rajamouli sort of top 5s, top 3s on his movies. And who knows, then it might even come in at number 1. Guys, did you agree with us? Did you disagree with us? Let us know down in the comment section. What are your top 3? Tell us your top 5 SS Rajamouli films. We want to hear back from you. Put it down in the comment section. If you have not subscribed to this channel, do that. Join us on Twitter. Send us some love. It's your boy Salem.
Ravi.
Peace.
Take care.